Welcome, everyone, to today's episode of Empowering You TV. I am so excited that you're here with us. My name is Aime Hutton, and I'm your host for this show. I now live in Calgary, Alberta, yet I grew up in Pickering, Ontario, about 20 minutes east of Toronto. Each episode, you will hear remarkable stories of women who have beaten the odds, risen above all challenges, and are now living their amazing lives full on like the brave, empowered women they're born to be. For more information or to be featured as a guest on Empowering You TV, please reach out to me at amy@inchbyinchempowerment.com. For today's show, I am super excited to be introducing you to my dear friend Vireo. Vireo and I actually met about 10 years ago doing some personal growth work, training and seminars, and we worked on ourselves and worked on our relationships and money and a whole bunch of other things. And we've sort of a little bit drifted apart, but we've always been able to come back together when she's in town, because she doesn't live here in Calgary. And she's a beautiful soul. But I am going to read you her snapshot of her story to you. So Vireo has a gift at creating safe and sacred space where women of all shapes, sizes, and ages feel safe to be themselves and share openly some of their deepest fears, hurts, worries, desires, darkest secrets, and more. Since 2008, she has supported and served women in freeing themselves from lifelong patterns of self-sabotage to self-love, from depression to freedom of expression, from sexual trauma to sexual healing, from feelings of not enough to embracing a deeper self-acceptance, from struggle to thriving, from frustration to satisfaction, and from unfulfilling dull sex to ecstatic, orgasmic, sacred union. Hello, Vireo. How are you?
Hi. I'm awesome.
So glad you're here. So glad you're here.
I'm very excited to be here.
Good. So can you tell us who you are and where are you in the world? You showed me a snapshot of where you're living. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, for sure. I'm very blessed. From my point of view, I live in paradise. And that paradise is in northern Alberta. It's about 2.5 hours from Edmonton, so Canada. Mm-hmm. And I live in a cabin on the lake, right on the lake. I'm actually looking at the lake right now. And I've been living here for a few years now. And yeah, I can't remember if there was anything else with that. That's where I am.
You showed me your panorama of where you're living, and I was like, oh wow, that's like part of my dream is to live in a log cabin. So I'm quite happy for you that you're doing that. So let's dive into some questions. So what in your life have you overcome, and can you share your story briefly with us?
Absolutely. Wow, what have I overcome? Lots of things. Sexual abuse when I was younger, domestic violence with boyfriends, and suicide with my brother, and that's 25 years ago now. Suicide, people I know in my community. Cancer, I've lost 2 friends to cancer. Divorce. And friendship with the father of my children. So that seems like a good bridge. And cancer with my mom right now. She's alive and she's been living with cancer. That's a few things.
That's a lot of a few things. That's a lot of things that you've overcome. You're similar to me with the theme of what came to me was a phoenix, and like overcoming and rising again and again and again. So I am very proud of you and of all you've overcome, and thank you for sharing that with us. That's awesome. Now, but if you could change anything in your life that happened to you in your past, what would it be, if any, and why or why not?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, I would say most of it I wouldn't actually change because it's made me absolutely who I am today. You're hearing a little motorboat, I think, in the background because there's a boat going by on the lake where I'm in front. Um, yeah, most of the things that would have been I would have considered, crises or challenges at the time have made me who I am, and I think I have more compassion for the women in my life that I'm very blessed to serve, and for my friends, and so I don't actually think I'd change anything. There's maybe two things that I wish I would have known.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two things that I wish I would have known, and one I didn't find out till literally this year. I turned 55 on January 3rd. I feel younger today than I did at 40. And at 55, literally just around my birthday, I found out my human design. I didn't even know what human design was before that. And knowing my human design has allowed me to live so much more in the flow and having the universe orchestrate on my behalf. So I wish I would have known that in my 20s or maybe even in my teens. The other thing that I wish I would have known is I wish I would have known more about sex. I wish I would have known orgasm. Like I found out things in the last 5 years, in my 50s, and even in my 40s, but even more so in the last 5 years about sex that I wish I would have known when I was younger, because I had no idea. I had no idea I'd been missing out on this much pleasure. So yeah, and maybe understood my body more and had less guilt and shame and more pleasure. So that's a big one. That's a big one for me. I wish I would have known.
Yeah. Yeah, those are pretty powerful. I know we're going to touch on part of that answer later. Well, a couple things. But can you tell me, Vireo, what's your why? I heard it a little bit in your previous answer, but why do you do what you do today?
Yeah, a big why is because I want women when they're young, and I'm happy to say some of the women I've been working with are in their 20s. I have women of all ages working with me. But my big why is I want women to be ecstatically orgasmic, blissful, joyous in all of their life, not just in their sex life. I'm finding we can be orgasmic in all of our life. And so I want women to know these things when they're younger so that they can, live now, live a really juicy life and empowered and happy, like ecstatically happy with themselves, regardless of whether they're in a partnership or not. So I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah, that's
yeah, that was awesome.
And the design, I guess the human design, both of these are key. So I want women to know their human design so that they can feel the universe orchestrating on their behalf and realize that the universe is actually on their side. And if they can know their human design and they can harmonize and start knowing what's not working and what will never work for their design. And I tell them, don't believe me, just go test it out, go try it out. So that's why I want women to have a better sex life, be orgasmic, and know their design so they can live a juicy, wonderful, orgasmic, ecstatic, blissful life.
That's awesome. Awesome. Now, I know this goes into your business. So tell us about your business and what it's about and what do you do?
Yeah. I just recently had a women's retreat, like literally last weekend. And it was 2 women who showed up. And it was beautiful. It was perfect. So part of what I do is help women to go from, feeling frustrated in all areas of their life to feeling satisfied. I help them to clear trauma, emotional trauma, physical trauma, spiritual trauma that's, we have way more trauma than we realize. Trauma's from like even just little things. It doesn't have to be like a big event in our lives. So I really help women to clear that and to become aware. That's a big one. I help women to fall in love with themselves. You know, I found every single woman who's come to me for one-on-one coaching or has come to me in a group setting, from teaching dance to lately teaching Qigong, or in a women's retreat or in a couples retreat. Almost, I would say every single woman has issues of not enoughness, of not loving themselves. And it surprises me. Even women, like I had a woman who worked with me who's a psychologist. I've had psychiatrists. I've had women who have high education, masters, PhDs, women with no education, life education. Mm-hmm. I'm talking formal education right now. We all, I think, have amazing life experience education. But formal education, I've had women of all walks of life. And most of them come, and there's this feeling of, either feeling fake or not authentic, not being able to be themselves, like just be here right now in life. So I really help them to come into the moment. And I always think of it like Michelangelo, David, the sculptor. He cleared away all that wasn't that wasn't David. And so that's what I do with women. We clear away all that's not them, all the old beliefs and programming that aren't even theirs. They're like their parents, their ancestors, and we clear all that away so they can just find their uniqueness and fall in love with themselves.
That's cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing what you do. That sounds beautiful. Do you have any testimonials or a story that you can share of one of a woman you've worked with and how she's transformed or changed her life from working with you?
Yeah, I think I actually have one that's written, so let me just see if I can grab it here. Let me see if I find it. There it is. Most of the women, a lot of what they've said is just that one woman actually got in the car with her boyfriend and she said, "Oh my God, I'm so in love." And he's like, "You're in love? Who are you in love with?" And she said, "I'm in love with myself for the first time, or more deeply than I ever been before." And that's pretty common with probably every woman I've coached, that they've all said they've fallen in love with themselves. And I feel like they get to see themselves through my eyes. There's one, let's see if I have it here. Yes. One woman said, "I'm finally free from oppression and depression, free to be me. I have never loved myself before as I do now. Vireo's coaching has changed my life from insecurity, pain, and depression to love, energy, and boundless joy." Yeah. So that's a piece of it I'll share.
That's awesome. That's pretty powerful. Like, to get into the car and say, "Hello, boyfriend, I'm in love," and the boyfriend's like, "What?" Like, that's pretty cool. That's really awesome. Thank you, and thank you to the ladies for giving permission to share that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and those are on my website as well. The one I do want to share, just because we were talking about sex, a lot of the women, and these ones, I'm allowed to share them. I just don't say who it is, and they are on my website as well. Is a lot of the women have said that they, after, one of the things I teach is orgasmic healing. It's a sexual sacred healing practice. And so a couple of the women have said that they've been increased their libido and more able to orgasm in their lovemaking as a result of working with me and taking some of the courses. So yeah, and I was surprised. I think I read the stats recently, and it's really high, the amount of women who don't experience orgasm or pleasure in lovemaking, and are faking it. So I want that to change. That's part of my why, is to change that.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's good. So let's switch questions a little bit. And how do you stay empowered in your life today?
Well, today would be a perfect example. how do I stay empowered? I have sacred, my practices that I have every morning. So before I actually even get out of bed, I have like a meditation. I do a meditation. I have a lot of practices right now. I do breath work. I do a microcosmic orbit. It's a Taoist practice. So it's circulating the energy through my body. I do an inner smile, an inner smile. So smiling to all of my organs and my master glands in my body. I do laughter yoga. Before I even get out of bed, I pull my legs together and go. Those are before I get out of bed. And then what else I do is really honoring my human design. Breathing. Most of us don't breathe. Mm-hmm. And I say that, you know, and people think, oh, that's kind of crazy. Of course we breathe. We wouldn't be alive. But we don't breathe consciously. So I do a lot of like Qigong, dance, yoga practices, that mindfulness that allow me to breathe more consciously, breathe more deeply. What else? Swimming. Like today I took a little dive. It's cold, but you know, being in nature, like that's every day I try go be in nature, because nature actually helps to reset our brain. And I didn't know that till I was doing the stats recently. Self-pleasuring. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm at an age where I just don't care anymore. I'll just say what I'm thinking. But yeah, self-pleasuring is a big one for, I feel really empowered when I'm in pleasure and bliss and orgasm. So, and then another one is self-talk, really talking to myself like I would talk to somebody I love deeply, my girlfriend, my children. That's another big one.
Those are all awesome. Those are all really great. I love that. Thank you. So do you have a song or a book or a movie, or maybe one of each, that empowers you to keep going in your own life?
Oh, for sure. I have actually always on my little beside me is A Course in Miracles. That's actually through really, really dark times in my life. That's carried me. That's, you know, been, wow. I just get little like shivers through me when I say that. Songs, you know what, probably the biggest ones for me right now are mantras. There's, and then a newest one that I sang with my, the women I worked with is just a simple mantra. And I do not consider myself a singer, although I know singers that I've worked with, they think we're all singers. And so recently at my workshop, I sang this Kuan Yin mantra, and it reminds me to have compassion for myself and compassion for everyone in my life. So the Kuan Yin mantra, that one's been, you know, it'll probably change next week or next month. It'll be a different one, but I really love that one because it really draws on that. It feels like it brings Kuan Yin right here.
That's awesome. So out of everything that you do to empower yourself, what is something that our viewers can do to empower themselves? What's one little thing they can do? What's one simple step?
I think a big one is breathing, like taking something that helps them to breathe better, from mindfulness, yoga, qigong, some form of, you know, a yin, feminine dance, something that calls them into their body. Whatever they love, everybody's different, right? What works for one doesn't work for another. We are actually the only mammal that holds our breath when we're afraid or we're stressed.
Interesting.
Yeah, so just breathing, I guess, would be a big one. And then the other one would be like, oh my God, you know, like letting go of the opinions of others. Like what I say with my coaching clients, and now they're quoting me and they're telling people the same thing, is what other people think of them is none of their business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To just really like let it be like water off a duck's back. Like other people's opinions, gossip, whatever. Just let it go because it's so toxic.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a little poster quote thingy on Facebook not too long ago, and it said, actually, and I created it too after, it said, "Not my monkeys, not my circus." In other words, yeah.
Awesome. I like that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Now, I know we talked about this briefly at the beginning, but what is a message you would want to tell the next generation of girls about empowering themselves? So, for example, if you could go back in time, Vireo, and tell your 11-year-old self something, what would it be?
Wow. One, that there's only one of you. There's only one of you. You are meant to be you. You are not meant to be anybody else. And to just really, really to just love yourself and talk so sweetly to yourself like you would to a little baby, and just soothe yourself. To tell to tell my 11 or 12-year-old, like, you are so beautiful. You are amazing. And I think Dr. Seuss has a quote that says, I can't access it right now, but it's the same idea. Like, you may as well, don't try to fit in. Why try to fit in when you were born to stand out? Just really be yourself, and don't waste any time trying to fit into other people's molds, other people's expectations, even our parents. I've always told my kids, it is not their responsibility to make me happy. None. It's my responsibility. And so really, just fall love deeply with yourself, and do what pleases you. Really find your own pleasure, what pleases you in your life, and follow that. And, you don't have to justify it to anybody else. Don't give them a story, an excuse, or anything. Just, do it. My son is amazing at doing what he wants and just standing there and not giving any excuse or story to anybody. He just stands in it. So, yeah, there's only one of you. So be yourself. Everybody else is taken.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, Dr. Seuss, that quote is like one of my favorites that I love, 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 love. So, Vireo, who is someone you would want to thank, who inspires you to be your best self, who's helped you when you're going through a difficult time? If you could write a thank you card to that person, who is that person, and what would it say?
Well, all of my teachers, I've thanked them. I'm always thanking them. I'm posting things and sending them notes and that. So my teachers, I feel like that's pretty much taken care of. Probably one person would be my beloved right now. Mm-hmm. Like, he's been there when nobody else was there, and he's been there when I'm, have been in my darkest places, and he's loved me just the way I am. Doesn't want to change me. Yeah, and I really do appreciate him lots. I leave him little notes and tell him how much I appreciate him. So I think, maybe because I've lost a lot of people and I'm getting older, and I am 55, I've lost a lot of people in my life. I actually live, and Stephen Garrett is awesome for this, living today as though we might die. So I actually do already write the thank you notes. I, send now it tends to be, people do it on Facebook instead of snail mail, but I do actually send snail mail as well. Yeah, so I think I keep pretty current on thanking people, because this is it. I don't know if, this could be our last moment, right? I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Yeah, and I know we both know Stephen, and he's a remarkable individual, and he's awesome. And his wife is mutually awesome too, Sonora. So let's switch back again more to business type questions. And what is coming up that our viewers should know about?
Well, I have a couple things coming up. There was a few women there was about a dozen women who wanted to come to my women's retreat but weren't able to, and I wanted to go ahead with anyway. So I have another one coming in August. Actually, I have two in August. August 11th, 12th, and 13th. And then August 26th, 27th, 28th. And I'm in this moment, I'm feeling called, I'm only actually going to take about 4 women for each one.
Make it more like a mastermind.
Yeah. And I found this last weekend really confirmed that for me, because I can really serve the women way more deeply individually when there's just a couple women there. So I feel like I'm actually just going to have 4, and the cabin has enough space for either 2 women can share it, or 4 women if they don't mind sleeping in the same bed, and also tenting. Excuse me. And it's just, I don't know, it's way more personal. The other thing I have coming is the women who came both have been asking for a couples retreat here. And I have offered them in the past, but not recently, just because of my own life that was going on. And I was in Thailand with Sacred Femininity. So we probably in July, I don't have the date yet, but it should be up in the next week or so. A couples retreat. And I'm also in that one, what I'm feeling more called to is to offering a private couples retreat for just individual couples, like 1 couple, maybe 2 couples at the max. They come out, they have their own cabin. They're going to learn some sacred Taoist Tantra practices. And then they're also going to be fed and nourished. It's really holistic. So they're in nature. They get to eat wholesome food that my beloved actually is like a raw chef. So it's not all raw that we'll eat, but he makes some amazing raw desserts. And then also I've got a promotion I'm probably going to do on human design, just because for me, reading people's human design charts is like, it's like I don't know, it's like going in the candy store, like for a kid. I love looking at people's charts, and I'm excited when I can help them look at what's not working and make their life easier. So, you know what, just for fun, if anybody who is listening to this, I don't know, the first 8 or 9 people, maybe I'll offer a promotion to them that they could, it's actually, it's 2 hours, and I prepare for it, and it's a follow-up session. So I probably offered for like $111, and if they wanted it and were coming to my couples retreat, I'll do it for their partner as well, so that they can see what works together and what doesn't work. So what else do I have? And then just, I have a free webinar I'm going to be doing right away. It's 6 mistakes that women make that keeps them feeling dissatisfied, discontent. Can't remember the other one. And to come away with 6 ways to feel more juicy, orgasmic, passionate, alive. That's going to be coming in a webinar. Technology is a big learning curve for me, so I've just got a few more things to figure out with that. And then I'm also going to be posting the other thing that's coming. Pun intended, perhaps wasn't intending. It wasn't a mind thing. Is a lot of women I'm realizing don't know the difference between climax and orgasm, and I have learned so much about orgasm the last 5 years and the last few months, especially studying sacred femininity in Thailand. So I'm going to, either it'll be a webinar, or I might just, video myself and put it on YouTube. But I really want to teach women what I didn't know about orgasm that I wish I would have known when I was younger, so that people can just have a more pleasure in their lives. So that will be coming as well.
Wow, that's a whole lot. That's awesome. That's so much things. But what's next for you? Or what's like an intention? Like, dream bigger. What's an intention you've set for yourself?
Oh, I think that the big intention that I've set for myself is to only say yes to things that honor my human design. and to really trust that the universe is orchestrating on my behalf, which it has totally been. So yeah, to set my attention to really soften and surrender into that even more deeply, and to, with my human design, it's about waiting for the people who see me and waiting for things to come to me. So just really trusting and surrendering in that. The other big thing that my intention is, my beloved and I would really like to be off grid. So one of the things is I've been simplifying my life more and more and needing less and less to be happy. So, I've planted a garden. I'm looking at maybe eventually getting solar. So, and community, a lot of things with community to try and live more simply.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. Now, because you're living where you're living, how's the best way to contact you?
I don't have cell reception where I live, which I love. The best way is email.
Okay.
Yeah, so they can go to my website, which is dancingpleasuregoddess.ca, Dancing Pleasure Goddess, and then my email is on there, which is Vireo, Vireo at dancingpleasuregoddess.ca. And that's the best way. Facebook Messenger is good too, but sometimes if I'm, in retreat mode, like this last weekend, I didn't go on Facebook for 4 days. So sometimes there's lots of messages, and if I don't respond to a message within, 48, 72 hours, it means that I didn't see it. So just email is probably the best one.
Awesome. Okay. That's good. That's good to know. And wow, we're at the end. Thank you so much. I just realized that. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're at the end of our questions. Thank you for being on our show. I had a blast, and I hope you did too. Do you have any
Absolutely.
do you have any words of wisdom that you want to share for the viewers today? One final little juicy gem or nugget of inspiration you want to share with them?
Yeah, just really, really live today. Like, just take more times to pause. And pause and drink up the juiciness of the day and laugh. Like, just, you know what? It's all small stuff. Most of it doesn't matter. And I'm really even learning to laugh at the stuff that is serious. And so laugh, like, just, go learn laughter yoga. I've got some free, subscribe to my laughter yoga on YouTube. Like, laugh, really just laugh every day. Take some time to laugh, like, every day. That increases your endorphins, your serotonin. It's actually really good for your health. And don't make, most of the stuff is not really important when we're laying on our deathbed. What's going to matter when we're laying on our deathbed is this. So thank you so much, Aime, for reaching out to me and inviting me for this interview and letting me share, and thank you for connection.
Yeah, it's awesome. It was a pleasure having you on today, and just hang on 2 seconds. I'll chat with you again in a minute. So everyone, we're at the end of our show, and that was such an amazing interview with my wonderful friend Vireo. So remember, everyone, inch by inch, you can overcome any challenge that is in front of you. I do believe in you, and I know you can get through anything. Till next time, be brave, be bold, and be yourself. Take care. Bye.